secret plan.
Yes, a secret plan to destroy all the even numbers.
Yes, and what are we doing it with?
My math gun.
I need minus.
Yes.
Professor Percent and Dr. Decimal are trying to give everybody the wrong answers on their math quizzes by removing all even numbers.
Am I authorized to use my subtraction powers?
You are authorized to do so.
I'm on it.
So, our master plan
Yes?
to destroy all of the even numbers.
Yes, how will we be doing that?
With my math gun.
And how does that work?
Well, I shoot it at things and...
Hey!
Ah!
Minions!
Get him!
Ah!
Ah!
Minions!
Capture him! Capture 100% of him. Thank you, minions. Now let us tell you our master plan.
With this PowerPoint presentation?
Bam! So first, this big book, as you can see, involves all these numbers. We're gonna take our math gun and we're gonna shoot it, and it will destroy all of them, leaving only 1, 3,
Basically, all of the
5,
odd numbers. He'll be here
7,
for a while.
9,
Stop, you're good.
11.
You're all right.
You sure?
But you will not be able to escape and stop us because you are stuck in our trap. Izoid!
It's a trap!
Izoid!
A trap!
You're good.
A trap!
How does my subtraction powers have anything to do with it?
Oh, my limbs!
Ah!
Oh, no!
Ah!
Oh, no!
Ah!
Oh, no!
Ah!
I have been divided!
Chief, I solved the problem. There are no remainders.
Great job, Agent Minus.
Am I authorized to go on vacation?
You are authorized to do so.
I'm going to Disney World now.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Speak of the Devils. I'm your host, James Hurley, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about math and technology here at BHS. Later on, we have the band Insight performing from the BHS Battle of the Bands from a few weeks ago. We also have a app review from Dravesh and Elizabeth, along with some funny sketches we put together just for you. So today, we have another roundtable similar to last month's episode. So, where do we want to start this off?
Let's talk about technology, I guess.
All right.
I mean, this is kind of a general question, to be completely honest, but, like, where do you think technology is going nowadays?
I'd say with the invention of, like, VR, it's going to be able to evolve much, much quicker than it has now. But the problem is perfecting VR before we can move any further.
That's true. VR, I've seen a lot more VR now, and I see, like, a lot of companies trying to make their own version.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen, like, 3 different types of VR headsets, probably more than that, to be honest. But, like, everyone's trying it because it's, like, the new thing, sort of.
Yeah.
I'd say the most advanced one I've seen is the HTC Vive.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're also one of the smartest ones on the market, coming out before the Morpheus and slightly before the Rift, as well as coming out at a smaller price.
The Rift was a pretty good project, though. I mean,
Rift
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
It
cost,
looks
the
pretty
Rift
decent.
costs a lot, though.
yeah. So
You've
does
seen
the
that?
HTC
Yes.
Vive.
It does, but, like,
I think it has like a retail price of like $800.
Yeah, I
No,
know.
thank
the
you.
Rift, The Rift is, like, way more than that, though. I've seen, like,
Yeah.
it go for, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The biggest problem, too, between the two is that the Rift is making a lot of people sick. There's been a lot of
Is it?
reports of the Rift making people, like, dizzy and having...
You know what that reminds me of?
Problems, yes.
The Nintendo Virtual Boy.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
actually, when VR first was starting to
Yes.
launch, that's the thing that most people were comparing it to at
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, like the Virtual Boy, I never had one, but I heard a lot about it. And I think one of the main reasons why it wasn't good was the fact that it was red. Like any color, the only colors in it were black and red. And that's not very appealing to look at, first off. And if you sit there for like hours at a time looking, well, I mean, hours is kind of generous to say because the Virtual Boy didn't last very long, battery-wise, but looking inside of it and playing it and like looking at it would make you dizzy and your eyes would like kill
Yeah.
Yeah.
afterwards, and it was the worst.
The technology wasn't available yet for that kind of concept because,
having 3D virtual reality in the 90s isn't really. Does that sound like something you'd want to use?
Probably not.
No.
People did buy it though because they're like, oh, it's virtual reality.
It's new technology. It's
Yeah.
an innovative thing.
Yeah. Also,
right
at
now.
the time, Nintendo was at top of their game. Still, they were the video
Yeah.
game company.
Yeah, they were the
at
top
time.
dog.
This
Yeah.
is true.
And this was Virtual Boy. Arguably, is the first step of their demise. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
at the time, they were the top gaming company.
Well, I'm trying to remember when does anybody, I don't know if anybody knows this, but I'm trying to think because when the Virtual Boy came out, I don't know what year that was.
I think it was 1989 or 1990.
Okay, that
I think
can't-
it was
no, it
maybe
couldn't have been the 1980s. It had to be
Was it
someone-
before the
I think it was
SNES?
1992.
No, no.
But I'm not sure.
It had to be in the 1990s, and the
around
reason
there.
I say that's because the NES
1994.
came out in like 1980.
86. The
Something like
NES.
that,
yeah.
1994.
Well, because
No,
it's
it had to be 1985 because Super
It
Mario
was
Bros. came out in
85,
1985.
Yeah. All right.
And then the SNES was 92.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, we're gonna tie back to something a lot more relatable. So, what's Apple working on at the moment?
Oh, God.
Yeah. Honestly,
They're
I'm
working on
surprised.
building some bigger iPads. Me, Josh, and I went down to the store one time down in Cambridge Mall, and it was they're like this is based on
The Pro? Yeah.
Yeah, it was
and they're
huge.
basically Apple's way of making new products is making them bigger. Like
Yeah, they
Yeah.
what they do is they update the specs slightly, not even the best specs, maybe like the best specs of last year, and make it bigger,
Yep.
change the design a little bit, and then you're done.
Well, not only that, to the fact that they completely ripped off everything from the Surface Pro, even
yeah.
the name.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
I got a Surface
it's
Pro,
essentially, if you compare the iPad Pro to the Surface Pro, which is Microsoft's version,
Yeah.
they're the same thing. Same size, same concept, same uses.
The Surface Pro just costs more, but it has way more uses.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a Surface Pro. I love it. I use it for everything. It runs full Windows. You can use desktop programs, even standard tablet programs, and additionally, it even has a better build too.
you can
The
type.
stylus comes with it.
Yep.
Yeah,
You don't have to pay
Instead of the
$100.
$99
I mean,
$99
that's what Apple
Apple
tries to
Pencil.
do. off
the
for.
keyboard doesn't come
The
with
Apple
it.
Pencil.
Apple
I know
Pencil.
that, but neither does the
Yeah.
iPad Pro's keyboard. And with the Microsoft keyboard, it has a trackpad, and also it's magnetic. It has and it's also just a better build quality in general. It's even backlit. Like when you see, hey, you guys have seen the iPad Pro's keyboard, right? The official
Yes.
one.
No.
It's garbage. Like
really is,
It
yeah.
looks like it's like a $20 keyboard you'd buy at Target or something like that. You know?
No, that
Well,
costs like 100,
not-
200 bucks.
Not to mention, too, with the Surface Pro, you get the connection with your PC as well as the Xbox.
Yeah.
You get to
exactly.
connect
You can
with
stream
your Xbox.
games.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's such a better value to buy a Surface than an iPad. And I don't know why the school drools over Apple so much.
Because Apple is willing to give us a good price.
Apple
And-
also
and
gave us
they
a
work with
grant.
Surface
Google.
Pros cost
Yes.
too much.
And our school also
school
loves
standard
Google.
Surface.
Yeah,
Which is
Google,
what
Google and
Apple-
Apple is like the big thing with us.
Apple
Apple
gave
and
us a
Google.
grant too, so basically
Yeah.
all we're getting is free.
Oh.
Let's talk about.
I
more.
want
I'm
a
actually-
Surface now.
I'm
Everybody
actually
wants
very,
it.
very
All get
surprised.
Surfaces.
Yeah.
Really
I'm
good.
very surprised with all of the big companies making VR headsets. Why hasn't Apple tried its
'Cause-
hand at it?
Because
Yeah.
Apple's
it's
really not.
dumb,
Because Apple's
probably.
really not into gaming.
But
Yeah.
Google is making a VR headset.
Google Cardboard.
Yeah, but
So-
Apple
Google
isn't really
isn't
into
Apple.
innovation, really.
Wait,
Exactly.
was that-
Not
wait,
really. They're
anymore.
really into ripping other people's ideas off.
Was that
They're
the-
claiming
was that-
it's innovation.
Was that the Google? Wait, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Was it like Google Cardboard or something?
Well, they've
like
got the
that?
Google Cardboard. That's their most recent thing. But even back, if anybody remembers it at this point, because they tried their absolute hardest to destroy it, was the Google Glass.
Oh yeah,
was their
I
first
remember that.
virtual reality attempt.
That was like the one thing that I
But-
remember. I was looking at that, and I was like,
I
oh, I want to get one of those. But it's like,
I wouldn't really
Don't,
count it as
man.
virtual reality.
I guess not.
more of an
but
interface.
I mean, it's
It
not
was-
like over your head. It's not like immersive, really. It's just kind of like wearable tech.
Yeah,
You know,
I
the way
suppose
it's
so.
used, you use it by like flicking your finger on the side or
Mm-hmm.
using your phone. So I guess it's I don't know what I would just doesn't really have
Which-
its own-
Like an
If I
interface.
had to connect it to my phone and
wearable.
use my phone in the first place, why couldn't I just tilt my head down a little bit
Yeah.
and not have to wear a pair of glasses that's going to give me headaches and possibly concussion?
Well, that's
Doesn't have it's not a very good view for.
It's got like, but it has some uses like it'll show you the notifications without you having to pull out your phone. You can use it as a camera, like mount it on your head, so
Yeah,
you
you
don't
can
have
like
to hold
zoom
the
in
camera.
on people and stuff.
That's kind of creepy, Nick. Just letting you know.
Mm.
But you can Yeah, that's basically it for main features, but
That's
I'm sure
it.
there's more. I don't know much about Google Glass.
What do you guys think about
features.
smartwatches? Because the other day I was in English class, and this
For
kid, he was.
I
I mean, it doesn't matter any
yeah,
smartwatch in
smartwatch.
general, but he was on his watch this kid was on his watch the other day, and the teacher told him to get off his watch.
That is a
Like-
sentence you wouldn't think you'd hear
You
other
can-
than in this
I've seen some
generation.
watches-
Get off your watch.
I've seen some watches where you can like use Twitter and even text people. Like, are you
Neptune
trying to
Pine,
make
have
a
you heard of
phone?
it?
That.
Just about every company has one now. The Samsung
Yeah.
Tech,
Yeah.
Apple.
the
Microsoft
Apple
Band.
Watch, yeah, the Microsoft Band.
I'd get one of those.
That's a thing.
Yeah, all of the major companies that have phones.
I have,
Yeah.
I have a question for you. You think with all the technology now, and I know the kids in the older days used to play with toys a lot. How do you think technology has affected the way toy businesses? I know because I don't see toys ever really being played with by little kids anymore.
Yeah,
Even
that's
at
true.
BCAT, we have like
And-
people coming in here to play with games we don't have, but technology's been taking over because
Yeah.
more and more into technology.
And we will discuss that when we return. But for now, let's check out the app review from Dravesh and Elizabeth.
Welcome to the Speak of the Devil's app review. This week we're reviewing Prism, a very geometrical game.
So the objective of the game is to activate blocks by manipulating lines and shapes to get energy orbs, and then those orbs are added to the main orb.
Or power up, if
Yeah,
I'm
it
correct.
powers it.
It powers the main orb, and it takes you to the next level. There's certain orbs you first activate to get to the next level. On the first level, you activate 3 orbs, and it's basically a charge meter. So once you activate all 3 orbs, it'll charge up the main orb, and boom, you go to the next level. The levels get harder as you progress through the game, and to add the bonus, the game also has a very ambient music to relax your mind as you play the game. So yeah. So let's play the game and see how it is.
Thank you, Dravesh and Elizabeth, for that awesome review. So, so you had brought up before, before our little break here, that the technology of recent years has a big effect on the toy business, and I absolutely agree with you. But it seems that most toy companies have adapted to that.
They have. Yeah.
Because we have seen the giant wave that is just about over now of toys to life figures, Skylanders, Infinity, all of those type of games.
Disney Infinity actually shut their doors down the other day.
Yes, they
They're
did. They
ceasing
just
production.
closed their entire gaming division.
Disney Infinity?
Yeah, they
did.
No, Disney closed their entire gaming
Yeah.
division. The
Really?
entire thing.
That's shocking.
They're making a Finding
all
Dory
that
set
stuff.
for Disney Infinity and one other which I can't remember, but that's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Really?
Yeah.
one thing I'd like
Wow.
to comment on though is I think the notion that people seem to think that kids only use devices like the iPad in traditional toys are just completely obsolete. People tend to over-exaggerate that. I mean, I have a 3-year-old sister. That's not the case. She actually uses traditional toys more than TV or her Kindle Fire Kids Edition or whatever they call it.
Yeah, and that's funny because despite
Like everyone thinks that like kids just only use.
well, I
like,
mean, even younger kids,
text and
that's
stuff, and
like
that's
our
it.
generation
come
was
on.
probably one of the more last ones I would say. I mean, I would say that would use the toys more regularly and not really focus on, what the new teenage type era, what used to be just teenage type era of like
I think I'd agree
phones
with
and
that.
iPads,
Yeah.
I'd say
Yeah,
we're the
even-
start of
yeah.
a new era.
Yeah.
for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
don't even. I don't think anyone before middle school should have like a smartphone. Really.
and even before, by the way,
it's kind of unreasonable.
No, if
I got mine in high school, so
I got mine in.
I had a
sixth
track.
grade.
I had a track phone for like years.
I
I
had
think
a
it's
track
good
phone
for
for
young
good-
kids
good
to like start adapting them to
Yeah.
technology at a young age, but like
Yeah.
not
Not too.
Start them off
Yeah,
slower.
not
like,
too
maybe
early.
Not in
that's
elementary,
funny,
but
like
if you're in
those like
what's
in
funny-
between feature phones, kind of like that aren't complete crap, but they're kind of they have like the touchscreen,
like the
silent
droids
keyboard.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
And even
Droid is still a good
even
brand for
parents
that.
I see like they buy lots of they still even without the fact that their kids are just looking at their phone at even their maybe their parents' phones or devices at points they actually buy a lot of toys still for them, but I don't say they don't really use them as much. But toy houses are like with little kids are like filled with toys.
I'd say it's really all on how they're raised up? Because I know I personally have 2 little cousins that still play majorly with pretty much just toys. It's
Younger kids have a bigger imagination, so it's easier for them to like come up with ideas to play with their toys.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there are definitely a number of kids who still use like
Yep.
normal toys, and then
Yeah,
there are
absolutely.
ones who are raised with technology. I don't know what you're talking about. I still have plenty of imagination.
There you go.
But I definitely think that it's transitioning, and like you know how we always see those movies and they always show like how the future has like flying cars and
Yep.
junk like that. But like I feel like that we're not there yet, but we're definitely leaning
yes,
in that direction.
absolutely.
That makes me nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Honestly, my dad and I were just having this discussion that we are heading in the way of WALL-E.
Yeah.
We are.
With the
That
like,
is
with
our
the,
future.
The
Everything-
morbidly
that
obese
movie.
people in those hover chair things.
Yeah.
I
With
mean,
the
more,
earth too
that's
polluted to
already,
live on.
that's
you know.
already a problem.
We're
That's-
already starting that.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that's
We're
already,
almost there.
we've already been the biggest obesest country in the
Actually, no, Mexico is.
Really.
We
Really?
keep going back and forth between the most obese country in the world, between us and Mexico.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm
but
actually learning something.
there's lots of people still use like
You wouldn't think that
use their
would be
devices a
No,
lot,
I
but like they
wouldn't.
won't.
No,
They're not like
absolutely.
obese. It's just that I think we use our electronics maybe too much. I think we have to like explore more and
That's
also
not the only thing.
interact more with other people is also another thing.
It's also a matter of where
Food.
our food is made
McDonald's,
out
I'm
of
looking at
different things
you.
at this point.
You know, Coke. I'm looking.
That
at
leads
you.
back to like how you were raised, because
Yeah.
some people can have more fun with just their imagination and toys, and other people just have more fun with technology.
Yeah, I can kind of see both sides.
I am
Yeah.
I am one of those people that was just on the edge of the era of technology, so I grew up playing with toys and am now a technology
I think
nut.
we
Yeah, I
all
used to
are.
love-
So
Yeah, I used to
had-
love Legos. Legos were very
I still
big.
love Legos.
I kind of had
Yeah.
both.
So-
Like,
I
was on both
Legos
sides.
were the best.
I remember I grew up and I remember I played with toys too, but I think the majority of what I really like to do is I like go outside and do something. That sounds like very out of the norm, like for teenagers to go outside.
yeah.
Like
Even if we didn't
But-
have technology, that's still weird.
but I still, when I was growing up, I always went outside. Even nowadays, I love going outside. But like, I used to go outside and I used to play with my brother all the time, and I could literally sit for hours just sitting and thinking about something. And then I would like look at the time, and it'd be like 2 hours past, and all I was doing was thinking of random stuff. But that's just me. But I don't know if
See,
somebody else is able
I
to do
tend
that.
to still go back to like actual physical toys and stuff like that every once in a while, but I really use technology just for an efficiency thing.
Yeah, and also there's like lots of games that people would
Yeah.
play with toys that are like now being digitally added on all these iPads and other types of electronic devices that people, and they find that like kind of more like toys and games. I don't know, like I know there's like games even we played that are kind of like toys in a sense. Like I don't know, Happy Wheels, some games, Geometry Dash, things, types of games like that that we could like maybe use. Oh wait, what's that other game that actually be a better example? There's like a toys thing that Wheels.
Something like
Hot
that.
Wheel-
Oh
Hot
yeah,
Wheels.
the
Hot
Wheels.
and
Yep.
people now probably just play on Xbox or PlayStation or types of games like that for car games.
I had so many Hot Wheels when I was growing up. It was
I
not
actually
even
want
funny.
to. There's one key thing I want to pull up with figures and like readable figures. Amiibo.
Amiibos, yep.
They were, other than like, I don't know, the other companies did really well, but Amiibo like did really well with what they did. It died
Yeah.
out. It's kind of leaving now, sort of.
I don't
but-
really.
That entire genre is on its way out. Now
It
that
is.
Disney Infinity's gone,
Yeah.
Skylanders died a few years back. Amiibo is the only one that's managed to stay around this long, and I think that's already on
One
its
of
way
the,
out.
I remember I was like, I would go out and I'd find an Amiibo and I'm like, oh, I want to get this. And it was like, oh, it can do, when I buy them, I'm like, I want to know what it can do in game.
Yeah.
I don't want it to just sit and do nothing. But when you use it and it's done, what do you do with it? Other than that, it's just a collectible figurine,
should
which
put
is
it
cool.
on
You
your
know,
shelf.
you know what you do with it? You give money to Nintendo.
No, it's a figurine and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the, because it's Nintendo and they're really famous, so of course they're going to make a lot of money off of that. But the problem with it is that they started out, like, I'm not going to say terribly, but they started out pretty bad with them because of the shortages that they had.
Well, not only that, they were also the last ones in the game, and they were already the Toys to Life genre was already starting its process of dying by the time the amiibos were released. Like the last Skylanders game had just been released, and Infinity had just released its second game.
And then
So-
and then like Nintendo's like, oh, we better start doing.
Everyone
this.
got
And I was,
really
like,
upset with
almost over.
amiibos because they were making limited numbers of those sort of things, and buyers and sellers and stuff would just like scoop them all up, and then they'd sell them for like a really outrageous price, like $60
It is.
per
It's
rare one.
ridiculous.
And
Yeah.
like a little kid that's gonna want to play and use his like favorite character, if that was one of them, you can't do that because parents, they're not gonna pay like a retail like priced New Year game for one amiibo.
What's also dumb is
That's
that
crazy.
some amiibo you can't get unless you get like the 3-pack.
Yeah.
For instance, I mean,
Other retro amiibos, those
like
are cool.
the retro pack. There's actually a retro pack where they have like Mr. Game & Watch, Duck Hunt, and Rob, and
That's what I
you
was
have to
referencing.
get the 3-pack in order to get any of them, unless you like go to Amazon or something. But
Yeah,
like,
what if you just wanted Rob?
I know exactly, and I remember Japan actually separates their amiibo,
Yep.
which I thought was pretty cool because I'm like, they're actually separating their amiibo so that people that want that one can just get that one. But some companies are just putting them together, and if you don't want the other one, you either throw it in a corner or give it to someone else. It's
All right, we will pick this up after another short break. Let's take a trip to the ye old Western times. And that's the Law of the West. Welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to also talk about the one game, Toys to Life, that we didn't discuss, Lego Dimensions. Now, they came even later than Amiibos.
They were
and
the
it really,
last.
It cost them a lot.
Did it really?
It did commercially horrible.
The problem with those is everyone got so hyped for those, and then it just
It
bombed.
failed.
See, all it really
The
was...
first games were good. I remember there's like bad Lego Batman, Lego Indiana
Yeah,
Jones. Those
Lego has a very, very good track record with video games.
The Star Wars game
But-
on the Wii was, I thought that was my favorite one.
But the big problem with Dimensions was Lego Dimensions is a Lego game just with extra collectibles you have to buy. It's the same standard setup and the same standard controls as every other Lego game, but now you have to buy $20 packs to play it.
See, I would see. I thought that this was when I first saw this. I was like, "Oh wow, this looks really cool." But like, I remember I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I really want to get this anymore. Because to be completely honest, it's just you have to buy more
Yeah.
packs. I don't really know if I want to spend more money on collectibles and stuff. And I thought that the idea was really cool. I think that Lego Dimensions is a really cool idea, but the way they did it was not
They also
good.
waited too long.
That's
was the biggest problem.
yeah, they did that too.
Lego Dimensions kind of reminds me of the Lego movie because there's so many different aspects.
Yeah, there's that too. What I thought was really cool, I found I was watching the trailer, and they're going through all the worlds. I'm like, oh yeah, they have like TV shows and stuff,
Yeah.
and then they put like Portal in there.
Yep.
I'm like, this is gonna be a really good game, and then they showed off the Portal, and I'm like, what are they doing? This is not the way to go.
They
with
are
this.
including Portal game though, and they've got
No,
like
no,
Back to
like-
the Future, Scooby Doo, Ghostbusters.
No, like when they showed off the way to play it, like
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Portal,
yeah.
not the game, the thing that you have to build. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
The thing that aggravated me the most about the Portal is that unlike any of the other games where you just put the figure on and it comes to life, in Lego Dimensions, you have to move the character around the portal during gameplay.
What?
Why?
I have no idea, but there are certain aspects, like in the middle of a boss fight, you'll have to move it from one side of the portal to the other to dodge a shot or something. You can't just move the
That's kind
character.
of
Isn't that what the
This whole
controller is
genre-
for?
It really was a awful concept to me.
The whole
Yeah,
thing,
that's
like,
really dumb.
yeah, the whole concept of these figurine-based games. It seems like
I think it started
On
out
a
as a good
corporate
idea, but then
level-
it got oversaturated
yeah, it's,
really, really
the only
quickly.
good idea it is for the company because it's like throwing your money away into a bottomless pit.
Absolutely, because
And-
they're only going to release more.
Yeah,
so
and it's just the whole concept. It's like throwing your money into the void for what, like a piece of plastic that has an ability that
Yeah, right.
you'll get bored of eventually.
It's got a
or-
computer
or
chip at the
wear
bottom.
out, you know.
big deal.
And just the whole concept. I don't know. Did they ever even catch on? Or
Yes,
with, like,
Skylanders became $1 billion industry over the course of a month,
Then it crashed.
Skylanders is really
and then it crashed
successful.
itself really horribly.
Skylanders did really well. Amiibo did really well.
Yeah.
Lego Dimensions apparently
Yeah,
didn't
It
do
failed.
that well.
Infinity started out strong, but a lot of people got tired of it by the time
Ah.
it got to like Star Wars and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. This isn't really my area, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure how these things worked out. But
Then they started making like different kinds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of like just plastic, they made like ones made out of yarn.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were amazing.
Oh, the yarn
Those
Yoshis.
Yeah, the yarn
Yoshis.
Yoshis.
Those are pretty cool. Those
They
are.
are.
Like, those
See,
are
I
good
thought
collectibles.
those were really cool. Those have more uses because they're like you can use them
Yeah.
more often. They're like toys. So like those are pretty cool. But like
That-
I don't know. I think they're just trying to. They're like. I think I know the story behind it is that the whole concept behind the game and the amiibo was
Yeah.
somebody from Nintendo came in and made the scene, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna make the amiibo out of yarn. And I thought that was really cool. But that's like one of the only amiibos that I would ever really
Yeah.
hand down to anybody.
See, the
'cause
really cool thing,
freaking adorable.
the only thing that set Dimensions apart from all of the other Toys to Life is that those figures aren't attached to their bases. They're regular minifigures that you can take off the base and play with on a normal setting. And they're actually made accompanying sets to go with it and stuff like that. But that's what I like the most about it because sure, Skylander is cool, but you can't really play with it as a figure because it's on a
It's
a
on a
freaking
thing, yeah.
computer
It's
chip.
mounted.
It's mounted, but like Lego, you could just pop it off the thing, leave the.
Yeah, you can't use it as an action figure either because
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
there.
Exactly.
they're never opposable either. They can't move. Like
Exactly.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
arms and legs and stuff.
They
can't
just
move.
stay
Yeah.
in one static position. They don't move. I actually want to. There was actually a thing talking about things that are kind of like they overhype, and then when it comes out, people don't really like them very much.
Everything Ubisoft has ever released.
Pretty close. No. But I remember this is this is kind of a specific one that I noticed, and maybe it was just me. But there was this one game that Nintendo like overhyped and really wanted people to get excited about, and we're like, oh, this is like going to be the most amazing thing in the world. It came out and it did like average,
Yep.
and I was like, I don't see many people playing this.
That feels
or
like the Wii
talking
U as
about
a
it.
whole. Everybody was excited for the Wii U. It came out and everybody was disappointed.
Well, I mean, the gamepad's battery life is, I don't know, it's not that good.
It's the Wii with a clunky game with a
an
clunky
iPad.
iPad as the controller.
Slightly
It's
updated graphics.
More inconvenient, if anything.
Who's been better?
It really isn't though. They didn't up
Wait, are you
anything.
talking about like the console wars?
Well, they did technically.
Nintendo doesn't even have a chance in the console wars
Nintendo-
anymore.
Yeah,
They're
they're
done.
done.
Just give it up.
Yeah,
They
wait,
need to
yeah,
become
that's what I'm saying.
Sega.
Is
Sega.
Nintendo, Xbox,
Sega
PlayStation.
was bought by Nintendo. You realize?
Yeah,
that,
they
right?
are now.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about is back in the 90s when Sega realized that they were beat, they dropped out of the console wars and became a third-party developer. I think Nintendo should do the same.
Yeah,
I don't
because-
think they
I think it's
should.
just about time that
Because they made a
they should.
Frankenstein. They made a Frankenstein out of the Genesis and put a 32X on it, and then the Sega CD.
Yeah.
Like, why would you?
Well,
do
actually, the
that?
Saturn was their downfall because they spent so much time and money making the Saturn,
And
then
it failed
failed
commercially
horribly.
really
Yeah, but that's like
bad.
the
And I
same
feel like the same thing happened to Nintendo for the Wii U. So if the NX doesn't do well next year, this might be the end.
I hope not. I love
Xbox is
Nintendo, and I
going
really don't.
strong.
It is.
You think
It is. Xbox has pretty much taken the console. Well, Sony is actually at the top
Nah,
right now.
Sony
I
is
think they're
definitely
really close.
doing
Like,
better
it's
than
kinda
Microsoft
Sony
right
is-
now.
shifts around.
Mm-hmm.
Up here, Microsoft's like. Here.
Sony, you're considering PlayStation, Sony?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
that's-
company
PlayStation
Sony
is
and
Sony.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
They're like,
Xbox-
Yeah,
they're like
that's
up
good.
here.
That's doing well.
Microsoft's like
Xbox is
about
Microsoft.
here, like a
Xbox
little
is
bit lower.
really good. I mean, there's some advantages I think to PlayStation compared to Xbox. I think like PlayStation. I mean, that's just that. Do you know anything that could be better on a PlayStation? I know there's-
PlayStation-
Well, we
there's-
can get to that
yeah. There's
maybe
some,
at some other time, but for right now we
Oh.
are running out of time. So as our final thing, we've got a piece from Insight at the Battle of the Bands, as mentioned before. Let's take a look.
really cool. The entire Battle of the Bands video will be on James House of Rock, a show on BCAT. And so that was a really great show, guys. We'll see you next time on Speak the Devils.
So I'd say Sony still should take the top
No,
gun because
Sony
they
has-
seem to have the games better.
They have more exclusive titles and they sell way more than Xbox.
That is very true. And Sony has just gained a few more exclusives than Microsoft has.
Yeah, like The Last of Us.
Recently.
That's probably one of the
Yeah.
best
Like, you can
exclusives of
zoom
all
in on
time.
The Last of Us is probably the best seller that they could probably ever get.
Unraveled.